A pair of New York City politicians joining forces with restaurants to demand indoor dining resume at half capacity. The group filing a lawsuit against Governor Andrew Cuomo and Mayor Bill de Blasio that says they are acting in an arbitrary manner. No kidding. By keeping indoor dining closed, and they want a judge to intervene. With me now is one of those politicians, Republican State Assemblywoman Nicole Malliotakis. She is also currently a candidate for U.S. Congress. Thank you so much for joining us, because this isn't just a New York issue. This is about what we've seen across the country, where you have a local government saying they're going to follow the science and then ignoring the science. We have been down below a 1% infection rate for a month now, and there is no timeline whatsoever when they're going to open indoor dining. It is crippling these local small business owners and just, the working poor, people who work in restaurants for minimum wage and delivery guys. I mean, all of it. It's just crippling this restaurant industry. Do you think you have a chance of fighting back?
We absolutely do. And today we were joined by restaurants that have had enough. They've met the metrics. We as a city have met the metrics that were set by Governor Cuomo, yet we are the only municipality in the state of New York that is not allowed to have any form of indoor dining. And as you mentioned, there have been 30 straight days, less than 1%. We actually have a lower positive cases in terms of testing than other municipalities in the state that are open. But because we have a mayor who is saying that, dining is somehow just for the affluent and his personal beliefs, not scientific or not the metrics, we are not allowed to open like the rest of the state. And I like to point out the 200,000 individuals who rely on the hospitality industry here in New York for jobs, to support their families, to put food on the table for their families. And that is who the mayor and the governor are truly hurting, in addition to those hardworking proprietors that put their blood, sweat, and tears into their restaurants.
It's really hard to understand why they're doing this. And if you look at a comment from the governor, he says that it's better to have people unhappy than sick. Which just seems to be totally out of touch with what's going on. You have the mayor, as you said, saying that indoor dining is about upper middle class and upper class people, was the comment that he made, which is completely insane, because what it's about is the people that are trying to work in those restaurants and the people who own those restaurants and have their entire lives tied up in them. And it makes me wonder, what do you think is behind their unwillingness to reopen inside restaurants? Because they don't have the science on their side, and they are really angering their constituents. And I just wonder, is it about politics? Is it about wanting to keep the city shut? Do they just not? Is it about power? Do they not realize that there's going to be nobody left in the city to pay taxes any longer, and the entire city is crippled? What do you think motivates them, honestly?
Well, most of the people that I speak to do believe this is about control. This is about dictating what they think is best for this population. And again, there is no science behind it. In fact, we meet the metrics set by the governor. We have better metrics, actually, than some municipalities around the state that are open. And this is about Mayor de Blasio and Governor Cuomo wanting to keep New York City shut down for their own personal reasons. Look, we know we all want to be safe. We all want to make sure that we're doing this wisely, that we are taking precautions. And we know so much more about this virus than we did 6 months ago. And we know how to take steps to be safe. And I think this is about trusting your constituents, just trusting New Yorkers that they want to do what's in their best interest of their restaurants, of themselves, of their patrons, of their employees. But we can't continue to just shut down this entire industry, because you can just go to the neighboring municipality, whether that be New Jersey or whether that be Long Island, and dine indoors. But meanwhile, New York City, where we have such a vibrant restaurant industry, is being completely shut down. This should concern people all around the country, because New York City serves as an economic engine for the rest of the country. If our economy tanks, it's going to be detrimental to the entire nation.
We ourselves went to New Jersey this weekend to dine inside, and there were so many people out in the malls. There were literally thousands of people right next to each other Those industries are thriving. Those people might be putting themselves in danger, and the city is just a ghost town. It's totally bizarre. All right, Nicole, thank you so much. We appreciate your time, and good luck to you. Connell.